Welcome back to the Hope, HOPE, helping our people elevate. If you're new here, I appreciate you for tuning in. This is a space where we expose the truth, challenge the narrative, and give a voice to the voiceless. If you haven't already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe because the information in this video is something they don't want you to know. Let's get into it. Peace and love, family.
On behalf of Akuno Sankofa for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope, HOPE. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate. And seeking knowledge make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that my flesh can pass away.
From the noose to the cell, the system has never been blind, just blindfolded. So-called black men have been condemned before they even speak, before they even grow. From the days of public lynching to the modern days of wrongful convictions, the outcome has remained the same, guilty before proven innocent. In 1955, Emmett Till was lynched for allegedly whistling at a white woman. His murderers walked free. Decades later, black boys and men are still being sentenced for crimes they didn't commit, while others get slapped on the wrist for crimes they did. When a so-called white boy commits a crime, he's called troubled. When a black man does the same thing, he's a thug or a super predator. The numbers don't lie. Black men receive 20% longer sentences for the same crime. Justice has never been equal. It was never meant to be. This isn't just history, it's happening now. How many more innocent lives will be taken before change happens? The time to fight back and stand up is now. So I want to go over 15 individuals or 15 cases of wrongful convictions and just give a quick example of what they went through. And I'll try to make sure I have images to show y'all of these individuals or their cases. But as I did a video here recently on Henry McCullum and Leon Brown in North Carolina in 1983, who spent 31 years in prison for the rape and murder of an 11-year-old girl. And they were exonerated in 2014 after DNA evidence proved their innocence, but they were awarded $75 million in damages. Then you had stories like Ricky Jackson, Wally Bridgman, and Kwame Ajamu of Ohio in 1975, who were convicted of a murder based on false witness testimony, where Ricky spent 39 years, the longest wrongful imprisonment in United States history. They were exonerated also in 2014 after a witness admitted that he had lied. The Central Park Five, or now exonerated Five, New York, 1989. You had 5 Black and Latino teenagers wrongfully convicted of assaulting and raping a jogger. They were sentenced from ranges of 6 to 13 years. They were exonerated in 2002 after the real predator confessed and the DNA evidence confirmed it. They were awarded $41 million in the settlement.
Now known as the Exonerated Five, an entrance here in Central Park has been dedicated to them and to all who've been wrongly convicted of crimes.
3, 2, 1.
The crowd cheered as the veil was removed from the carved stone, naming a 110th Street entrance to Central Park in honor of the Exonerated Five. Now well into adulthood and new lives, they had walked with a large group of supporters to the entrance. I spoke with Kevin Richardson moments after he'd seen it.
To bring back memories, but now that we have such an honor and be acknowledged, it's a different story, you know. Just being relevant all these years, it's so surreal.
The case of Anthony Ray Hinton, Alabama, 1985, he spent 31 years on death row for a double murder that he did not commit. He was exonerated in 2015 after forensic evidence proved the bullet did not match his gun. He wrote The Sun Does Shine about his experience. You had Curtis Flowers of Mississippi in 1996, convicted 6 times for the same quadruple murder. He spent 23 years in prison, including 2 decades on death row. His charges were dismissed in 2020 due to prosecutor misconduct and lack of evidence.
The town of Winona had never seen a murder on that scale.
Curtis Flowers became a suspect almost right away.
I'm not convinced Flowers is innocent.
Things are not always as they appear.
How do you put somebody on death row with a circumstantial case?
He didn't do it.
This is the craziest case I ever seen in my life.
Albert Woodfox in the Angola 3, Louisiana, 1972. Woodfox spent 43 years in solitary confinement for a murder of a prison guard. His convictions were based on fraudulent evidence and racism in the justice system. He was exonerated and released in 2016.
In March 2014, Glenn Ford was freed after 3 decades on death row. He walked out of the Angola penitentiary when a judge vacated his murder conviction and death sentence. His exoneration came after new evidence emerged clearing him of the 1983 fatal shooting of a jewelry store owner. Glenn Ford is African American. He was tried by an all-white jury. In 2000, the Louisiana Supreme Court ordered an evidentiary hearing on Ford's claim that the prosecution suppressed favorable evidence related to 2 brothers initially implicated in the crime. Then in 2013, an unidentified informant told prosecutors one of the brothers had admitted to shooting and killing the jewelry store owner. Last year, Glenn Ford briefly spoke to reporters as he left the prison a free man.
Going all kinds of directions, but it feels good. I was locked up almost 30 years for something I didn't do. My sons, when I left, was babies. Now they grown men with babies.
Glenn Ford, Louisiana, 1983, spent 30 years on death row for a murder he did not commit. He was exonerated in 2014 after prosecutors admitted his innocence. He died from lung cancer shortly after release. Kevin Strickland, Missouri, in 1979, wrongfully convicted of triple murder at 18 years old, spent 43 years in prison before exonerated in 2021. Missouri refused to compensate him. A GoFundMe raised over $1.6 million for him. Calvin Michael Smith from North Carolina in 1997 spent 20 years in prison for an assault that evidence showed he did not commit. His conviction overturned in 2016, but he was never compensated. I did a video on this one, the Scottsboro Boys of Alabama in 1931, where 9 black teenagers were falsely accused of raping 2 white girls. They were sentenced to death despite a lack of evidence. Some spent years in prison before even pardoned or released, and they were exonerated in 2013. Now some more recent or lesser known cases. You had cases like Lamar Johnson of Missouri in 1994, who spent 28 years in prison for murder, who was exonerated in 2023 after another man confessed. Christopher Dunn of Missouri in 1990, convicted of murder at 18 years old. He is still in prison despite witnesses recanting. His case is ongoing. Julius Jones of Oklahoma in 1999, sentenced to death for a murder he says he did not commit. His sentence was commuted to life without parole in 2021 after a public outcry. He is still fighting for full exoneration. Tremaine Hicks, 2001, wrongfully convicted of rape and sentenced to 25 years. He was exonerated in 2020 when DNA evidence proved his innocence.
They offered me 35 years initially. Initially, they offered me 35 years. That shit had a nigga shaking like this. I couldn't even fathom still at the point of me going to prison for a crime I didn't commit. You know what I'm saying?
35 was something that you didn't do.
Like, come on now, like that shit heavy. So I told them, like, I don't plan on taking no deal. Like, I'm innocent. It's like, how am I in jail for something that a nigga didn't do? Like, they don't got nothing on me. Everything they got on me is made up situations. But the lawyer I had, Glenn Blake, he was just as dirty as they come. He was fresh out of prison himself. You know what I'm saying?
These were all white people.
These are all white people for sure.
I say that
Absolutely.
Because I want the people that's hearing this to see how the system in Tulsa. I mean, it ain't even just here in Tulsa, bro, because your story is one of thousands.
And that's what I found out. They're like Oklahoma, like they like top 5 for wrongful convictions. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Overturn wrongful convictions at that. More people go to jail for something they didn't do in the state of Oklahoma than in a lot of other places. And we're not even that big of a state.
These are just a few of the many stories that go on across the United States. I've done a few of them. I've interviewed brothers on my channel. So if y'all haven't, go check those out. Make sure y'all hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on this information. But like I said, yeah, I've done videos with brothers who are incarcerated, wrongfully incarcerated, and I've done videos with brothers who told the truth about their crimes. But here in Oklahoma, eyewitness is one of the top things that they use to convict people. And a lot of the time, the testimonies be false or just hearsay. How is that possible? How can someone just say, yeah, he did it, and then they just take the word with no evidence? On that note, drop your comments below. Hit that like button, like I said. Make sure y'all subscribe. Peace and love. Catch y'all on the next one.